Hey guys, what's going on? Justin back. Basically, I had a video about the top 5 most important things that I dealt with as an eBay employee and also as a seller. Just some things that newbies kind of run into, and also experienced sellers don't know a lot of this stuff too. It's kind of behind the scenes, and it's one of those things where you won't learn it unless you actually run into it. So I did want to go through it just so that way it'll kind of make the transition really easy for some of the new people that want to do it or might be interested in it, and also for some of the people that have been doing it and are kind of going through this right now. So the first topic I have is the importance of tracking. Basically, tracking, I'm going to go through why it's important, what the best way to do it is, and what eBay looks at. The second thing is going to be proofreading your listings. Definitely you want to optimize them, but a lot of times we don't look at certain things, and I'm going to go through some of those as well. The third thing is going to be the items themselves. So where to get them, what to get, how to get them. A lot of specific things geared towards items as well. The fourth topic is going to be funds availability. That's a big one. So obviously people are on eBay to make money, people are on eBay to sell. But whenever you're new or you're in certain seller performance metrics, you will most likely be hit by funds availability. So I'm going to show you how to get out of that as fast as possible. And the last thing is seller performance. So that's the metrics themselves, what eBay is looking for, what they all mean, is it worth it, should you do it, that kind of deal as well. So let's go ahead and start off with the importance of tracking. So when it comes to tracking, what I have here is basically what eBay is looking for, right? So to protect yourself as a seller, eBay is kind of helping you out by requiring you or wanting you, you're not required to, I guess, but they want you to use tracking, to upload tracking information. What that does is it covers you and it covers the buyer, right? So you ship that item out, item says delivered, front porch, left in office, in mailbox, whatever. Buyer opens up a case and says, oh, I never received the item, I never got it. So when you have tracking on there, as soon as it says delivered, eBay has no choice but to side with you, because they're like, well, it says delivered, you know what I'm saying? It says that everything was done correctly on the seller's part. We're not going to penalize them. So, most likely it'll go in your favor, or they'll, split it both ways. I don't know how they, it's case by case basis, but you won't lose by having tracking. Trust me, it's happened to me before. So if you don't have tracking though, and the buyer says, hey, I never received it, well, it's kind of, we have to take their word for it, because there's no tracking on there. There's nothing to say, hey, here's the proof, it's not here. So, there's a lot of things that happen right there. The next reason is for your top rated status. So if you want top rated, you have to offer free shipping. Well, I guess free shipping is not really mandatory, but you do have to offer 1 business day or same day shipping. And you also have to have 30-day free returns. Now, for me, wasn't good for my business model, but if you have something that you just know you're not going to be getting returns on, or you're in a better market, then by all means take advantage. You get a discount on your selling fees as well, and also you go higher up in the search results. Me personally, I have buyer pays return shipping, but I do accept 30-day returns as long as the item's in the original condition. Rarely do I mess up. Obviously, if I do mess up, I would hope that the buyer would reach out to me and let me know what's wrong before I can go ahead and fix it, before opening up a case or leaving negative feedback. So it's on you if you want to do that. That's what the seller performance metrics are for. They're primarily for top rated in terms of being in that little green area at the edge of the ratings. However, anybody else is just above standard, and that's perfectly fine if you just are okay with just selling on there and, just having good stuff and just going about your way and not really worrying too much about all that stuff in terms of tracking and in terms of getting things out in a certain time or accepting returns, anything like that. Or you don't care about the little discount. I think it's like 2%. So instead of paying 10% fees, you pay 8% fees. It's up to you. It's your call. Basically, let's see, what's the next one? So that does also help with the buyers. The buyers do like when you're a fast shipper. Obviously, when you buy something, you want it as fast as possible. So it's only right to do it that same way. You're going to get more repetitive buyers, because they know, like, hey, this person ships fast, Then it becomes kind of a relationship where they're not looking so much at, like, oh, look at the feedback, look at this. It'd be like, no, I've dealt with this person before, and they always get it out to me as fast as possible. And they'll even recommend them friends. So they'll say, like, oh, I don't know if you should buy from that seller, but this guy I always deal with, they know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I always recommend that. The next thing, proofreading your listings. Yeah, so that's looking through the title, the description, any of the item specifics, all of those things you want to have correct, but you also want to optimize those words and those phrases, just in case somebody's looking those things up in the search bar, your listing will come up. That's probably one of the easiest ways to get yourself found when you're dealing with top rated sellers as well in the same market that you're in. You want to make sure your listings look professional. You want to make sure that your listings look like it's a company. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a very great description in terms of, you know, what the item is, what colors there are, the style number, the color code. Just like I said, something you would see on a department store website, you want your page to look like that. Now you want to add your own touch on there as well, and make it you, and that they're dealing with you. They're buying you. They're not just buying your products, they're buying your service. But you also do want it to look professional. I mean, how many times would you say you would buy something from somebody that doesn't look professional? Probably never, to be honest with you, unless you absolutely have to and they're the only person that has it. But set yourself up for success, make it look as professional as possible, and put yourself in a position to where if somebody's on the fence and they got somebody else who's just like, oh, you know, 1 to 2 business day shipping, USPS, smoke-free home, pet-free home, or they have you who's like, boom, 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 you know, any questions, please ask, reach out to me, I'm always here, yada, yada, yada. I mean, people are going to jump on your train no matter what. So I always recommend that. Let's see what else we got here. Return policy. That's a big one. A lot of people don't like to accept returns, but what I've noticed is that most people don't really return just to return. And usually when you put buyer pays return shipping, it kind of puts it on them to decide if they want to pay that money to ship the item back to you, you know, because if it's free returns, they can just get it and try it and be like, oh, if it's just a tad too big, I'm going to send it back. But when it's buyer pays return shipping and it's something that minuscule, they're like, nah, it's really not that big of a deal. And I really don't want to pay another $7, $8, $9, $10, $11 just to get it back to this person to get a refund and lose out on $11. So I do include a return policy. It does help with your search optimization. However, free returns obviously are going to reign supreme. But at the end of the day, if you have good feedback, you take great photos, you have great descriptions, it's not really going to matter because you're going to have people that are going to follow you and they're going to look specifically for your items first, see if they can find it from you before they actually go into the search results and look to buy it from somebody else and then let them do whatever they want to do. I have plenty of customers that are like that they just buy specifically from me, or they'll look for me first, or they'll even reach out to me and message me and say, hey, do you have this? Because I'd prefer to get it from you. So like I said, you're selling yourself, you know what I'm saying? You're selling your service, you're selling your quality, what separates you from everybody else, you know? And other people think, oh, well, I gotta have the badge, you know? If I don't have the badge, I don't have anything. That's not true, you know what I'm saying? Because I've met top rated sellers that aren't very nice, you know, or not very good. But I've met top rated sellers that take pride in having that top rated badge. But like I said, I don't do that. That's not good for my business model. So I just do the buyer pays return shipping. I am more than willing to accept those returns and be done with it and move on to the next, and definitely apologize to them if it was my fault. If it wasn't my fault, hey, here's your money back, send the item back. I'm more than happy to go ahead and move from there. The next thing in that is your price. So when it comes to your price, just make sure you put the right thing down. I had a lot of people call and they would say, you know, I can't list this item, you know. Well, let me check. Oh, well, the price that you have it for is way above, you know, your normal monthly limit. And then they would be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I put an extra zero in there or an extra one. Just proofread that. I know it's something simple, but trust me, it's in the details. Also with that is the, what was the last one as far as price? Oh, the quantity. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe how many people would create one listing and accidentally put in like 100 quantity. And then, you know, we couldn't figure out for the longest time what was wrong with their listing, you know, and it was something simple, you know, like a shirt or a pair of shoes or something. And it was like not letting them list it. I'm going through their listing, trying to help them list it. And then I finally take a step back and think, okay, let's think a little bit simpler. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Sure enough, we go back, look into the listing. The quantity says 100 shoes, which is way over their monthly selling limits. And they don't even have 100. So if they did list it, they might have put themselves in a position where, you know, they had 5, 10, 15 sales on that one item and they only had one, and they just overlook that simple thing. So just be very careful. Trust me, take your time, go with the process. The more time you take, the more of a reward you're going to get in the end. Just be careful with it. Remember, it's like a work of art. Your profile is your baby. It's your business, you know, and trust me, I've gotten to the point where, you know, at first you kind of take it for granted and then you kind of slack a little bit, or things happen and little mistakes happen and you're kind of in in a flutter to get around and try to be like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? How did I not look at that? And kind of realize, oh shoot, I wish I would have just done that from the beginning and not skimped on it. So I encourage that by all means. Take your time. Trust me, the more time you take, the better your listings are going to come out. The easier people are going to buy your items, the more sales you're going to get, and the better business model you're going to have. The next one, a big one, items. What makes a good item? When it comes to items, I used to be like, oh, well, I know that brand. You know what I'm saying? It's a brand I would buy. Let me just buy it because somebody else is going to pay that. That's not how it works. 110% of the time, it is not how it works at all. You need to do the research. You know what I'm saying? Something stands out, look it up. If it's something you like and you would buy, look it up. But always look it up first. Get into that habit of just looking it up and looking at the market and seeing if it's something that's even selling. Because a lot of people will look it up and be like, oh yeah, people have it listed at 150. Well, then you go ahead and check the sold listings, and then you see, oh, but they're only selling for 74. 80, 82, and something that they bought for $59.99. So you're like, they're not making any money. They're kind of just trying to get rid of it, So always check the market. Don't buy things that only you look for. And that's why I encourage you to use YouTube, use Instagram, use Facebook, use Snapchat, use any means of social media to learn about these brands. So that way you can just kind of go into these places with a roadmap in your head, kind of going in there like, okay, I'm looking for this first, this first, this first, this first. Once you look through those and you're like, okay, I didn't find any of those things. Now I can kind of look around and see if I find any other brands or maybe something that you can just look up like that. Definitely makes it easier, because I remember I used to go into Goodwill. So, and I had no idea what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I was killing it at Ross, killing it at Marshall's, killing it at Burlington because I knew what to look for. But when it came to Goodwill, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like lost at sea. So I actually listened to Rally Roots. Shout out to Rally Roots. Listened to their stuff while I was at the Goodwills for about a week, and just kept going through everything they had. And I would find their brands and see like, they lay it out pretty easily, which is good, because they'll tell you like, these are good brands, but you have to find them in this pattern. If you don't find them in this pattern, do not pick them up. And that's good, because a lot of people will just say this is a good brand, and then you go through and find that brand, and then you're stuck because you're like, oh my gosh, this one doesn't sell. They lied to me. So Rally Roots, great channel, great information. I use the College Picker. He's great with the electronics. He's great with like vintage clothing. Oh my God, that dude's a killer. Bonafide Hustler, king of yard sales. Like, that dude goes to yard sales and he knows stuff that like I see myself, and then I pass on it and I watch his video later on and I'm like, idiot, like I walked right by that thing. I should have just picked it up, but I didn't know, and knowing is half the battle, especially when it comes to reselling. The more you know, the more income you can attract to yourself, because you know all these markets. You don't have to settle yourself on one specific stream of material. You can have multiple streams, looking for backpacks, shoes, laptops, goggles, suitcases. I mean, there's so many things you can learn, and you'll never stop learning. So just always keep going, keep looking for those things, and keep finding more sellers. There's a lot of people that show wholesale stuff. Rally Roots is another one. Rally Roots is another one. They do wholesale as well, and they kind of just show you how to do it. They even offer a course for you to get into. It's like a class or a team, and they basically just lay out deals for you. Now, it is a paid subscription because they are putting that time and effort into you to help you succeed, but I haven't heard any bad reviews about it, and I was going to do it myself, but I just didn't have the time or the funds at that time. I didn't plan it out correctly, so that's on me, but I will be joining soon. The next thing when it comes to an item is when you charge something for an item, right? You find an item, you say, hey, look, it's $39.99 here. It's selling for $99.99 free shipping, or however much shipping you want to charge, or it's selling for $120, whatever. You see it on the market. Always check the sold listings, and you see what it's selling for, and you say, I'm going to make this purchase. When you go to price this item, if you're hurting for money, try your best not to undercut the entire market. Try your best to really price it with everybody. If you're hurting for money, it might be better to buy something that's going to sell quickly, so you get your money in and out and you can charge that price and get it consistently. You know what I'm saying? Something that's selling every day, multiple times a week, if anything. Okay. But a lot of times, I've done this before when I first started, when, I really needed the money. I needed to pay bills. So you have people finding items and charging $130. And then I'm like, man, well, I'm going to charge $100, or I'm going to charge $70 just so I can sell it quick. Well, what happens, that drives down the market, and it goes ahead and hurts everybody. So think about this as a community. We're all in this together. If we hold the line and we hold ourselves at a price, then it forces the buyers to have to pay that price. You know, and mind you, it's a good item. You know what I'm saying? It's a good quality item and the price is correct, but we want to make sure that everybody's getting the same amount of money. I mean, it's only fair to think about it that way. But like I said, if you're in a position where it doesn't really matter to you and you need the money as fast as possible, do what you got to do. We totally understand. I mean, I would do the same thing, so no judgment here. Let's see what else. Quick one. I utilize best offer a lot. So for instance, if people are selling things for $129.99, I'll do one to $29.99 or best offer. So I don't drive down the market, but it lets the buyers know, like, hey, reach out to me and maybe we can work a deal out, you know? And a lot of times they will reach out to you. They'll reach out to the best offers first because it's not just like I can only get it at this price. Hey, if they can save $10, $15, $20, you know, $30, if you're really hurting for the money, heck, you can get that price that you would have charged at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, $90 and take it, you know, but it doesn't drive down the market. So it's a win-win, I would say. What's the next one? So the way I calculate how much money I'm going to make on something before I even buy it is that there's a little equation that I use. So, and I'm pretty sure everybody uses it. I'm pretty sure most people talk about it. When you go to buy something, you look at how much they're selling for. And so say I buy something for $39.99. After tax, it's like $42.05 or something like that. Okay, get the item, you sell it for $129.99. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take that $129.99 right off the bat, free shipping, right? Imagine you're doing free shipping. Subtract 13% because that's 10% eBay fees, 3% PayPal fees. So you're left with another number. Once you get that number, you subtract your shipping cost, which usually for me, I use a lot of the padded flat rate envelopes. So it's usually $7.33. So I'll take that number, subtract $7.33. Boom. Now I'm at basically what I'm left with minus the cost. That's what I do. Take what I'm left with minus the cost. Boom. You end up with your profit. And there you go. So take that to heart. Get the item, see what it sells for, subtract 13%. Subtract your shipping cost, subtract your cost from the store, and then what you're left with is your profit. So a lot of people usually go for like 115% profit. Obviously, some items you can get more for that. Some items you'll get less. Depends on what you're trying to do. It's a lot easier to resell if you have another job because you're not hurting for the money. So you can let those items sit, and everything will sell eventually. But if you're in the game like I am, where it's like your bills are on the line and you're trying to do stuff, you really got to make sure you're buying those right items. So for instance, I'm in Austin. So I go from here, I'll go to San Antonio, I'll go to San Marcos. I'll go wherever I have to go to find these items to succeed, and it's hard, there's a lot of L's, you know what I'm saying? It's not all peaches and cream where I'm just finding finds left and right, but I put myself in as many positions possible as I can to be hit with those items, catch them on the restock, at the right place at the right time. And like today, I think I found 2 pairs of cleats, and I caught them right when they were restocking. They're 2 pairs of $230 cleats, and I got them for $25 a piece. So it's a win-win, I'll take it. Let's see. What's the next one? Oh yeah. So when it comes to those items, there's 2 ways to do it, right? You can do the price high, hold on to it for a little bit, or you can do the price low and just flip quantity, quick. Both of those are very effective and efficient. Usually if it comes to like a Walmart item, a Target item, somewhere where you can buy it in bulk, I'll do the quick flips. You know what I'm saying? I'll take the quick, or if I find a bunch of something, 10 of them, then I'll do a quick flip where it's like, hey, I'm kind of only making $20 or $30, but I found 10 of them. So in the long run, I'm gonna be making $200 to $300, or you can just, you find 1 or 2 or 3 items that hey, boom, I can make $100 on each item, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit until you find that right buyer that needs it. So there's 2 ways to look at it. Whatever best fits your style of living is what I would say. Don't let anybody influence you to do one or the other. It's whatever works best for you. So like I said in the last video, whatever works best for me may work best for you. If it does, by all means, steal it, or not steal it, but I'm giving it to you, And the other way, if it doesn't work for you, well, there's plenty of other ways to learn about it. Number 4, funds availability. Huge topic. Got a lot of calls about funds availability. So basically, when you start selling on eBay, you're in what they call the new seller or seasonal seller category. What that means is you just started selling, or you don't sell very often. It's kind of like on and off kind of deal. And so what eBay does to protect the site and to make sure that, if you're a new seller, we want to verify who this person is. I mean, think about it. If you were buying from somebody, you would hope that eBay had your best interest in mind and was, making sure this is a real person selling real items so you don't just get scammed. When it comes to the seasonal person, what happens is sometimes people's account could get jeopardized. And if we don't keep checking that person and their account gets jeopardized, and because we trust them from making 1 or 2 sales, they jump back on and then they can take advantage of somebody, we get into a whole mess of trouble. So funds availability, what happens is basically you send an item out with tracking on it. When that item gets to the buyer within 24 hours that the eBay system reads that it's delivered, the funds are released. That's a breath of fresh air. Usually that's 2 to 3 days. And back in the day when I first started, it was actually 3 business days after the item said delivered. Yeah, once it was delivered, I had to wait 3 business days after that before the funds were actually released. So eBay realized that, hey, we're getting a lot of calls on this, and we want to make it easier for everybody because, people wanted the money, they needed the money. And so eBay said, well, we're going to meet them halfway and we'll release it that same day. You know what I'm saying? So that was really cool on their part. I didn't expect that. And I kind of wish it would have happened when I needed the money when I first started, but it was good for everybody else, because I figured out a way to do it, and I would hate for anybody else to be in that position that I was in. So kudos to y'all. Moving forward, when it comes to funds availability, to get out of the new seller category, what it is you have to sell 25 items. You have to be a seller for at least 90 days, and you have to have over $250 in sales. Once you meet all 3 of that criteria, you graduate out of those limits, okay? So that's a very touchy subject. I know it takes some time, but that's what eBay has in place. I think it's a great process. I think it's very important to go through that because what happens is we don't want to set you up for failure, make all these mistakes at the beginning, which a lot of people do, and then it hurts your seller performance. And a year later, when you've got it all down, you still have these things that are holding you down from when you very first started, when we could have just prevented that from the very beginning. So that's the goal with having that. We have those limitations on your selling limits. We have those limitations with the categories and the blocks. We also have those limitations with the funds availability. We really want to make sure that you realize how serious this is, and we want you to grow and grow in the right way, kind of like training wheels. So if you ever do have any problems, don't hesitate to call eBay support or reach out to me. Send me a message, drop a line on the video, and I'm always here to answer all those questions. Message me on Instagram. Remember who_pays_retail. So reach out to me. I'm always here to help answer all those questions for you. I can most likely tell you the outcome you're going to get. However, some outcomes are case-by-case basis. Okay, so I can't make any promises, but I'm always here to help. The last topic I had, seller performance. Okay, seller performance. Obviously, you want to stay in above standard. As long as you're selling your items, like just getting them out on time and not having any problems with buyers, like responding to cases or having a bunch of cancellations, you're going to be in above standard, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing's going to be wrong. The only time the seller performance really matters if you want to be top rated, or you get into below standard. Okay, so I'm gonna go through both of those. Top rated, basically, like I said earlier in the video, you have to offer 30-day free returns, which is kind of tough for some people. And the other one is you have to have 1 business day or same business day handling time. Okay, you have to get that item scanned by the post office, not dropped off and I hope they scan it, and if they don't scan it, you're going to call eBay and complain. No, you have to get it scanned. That's what I had to do when I was top rated as well, because I ran into that same problem. And what had to happen was I had to go to the front, say, I need to get an acceptance scan. Boom, they give you a receipt, they accept it, done deal. But some people don't want to wait. Some people feel like, why should I have to wait in line? That's perfectly fine, but you're putting your top rated status at risk, okay? Now, if you don't want that top rated plus, badge, then you can just leave your items there. If they scan it that morning or later on that night or the next day, it doesn't really affect you because you're not going for the top rated status. You know what I'm saying? Your account can say top rated, but your listings won't show the badge unless you actually have the 30-day free returns and you have the 1 business day or same business day handling time. So if your account in your seller performance or seller dashboard says, oh, you're top rated, but my badge isn't showing up, it's because you don't offer those things on your listings, okay? And it's only going to show up on the listings that you do offer it for. So you can have items that you don't have those qualifications for, and then you can have items that do, and it'll only show up on those ones that do, and you'll get the discount on those items when they sell. Like I said, personally, I don't use that, just too much going on for me, and I didn't like it, kind of hurt my feelings. Let's see what else. So post office, what happens if they scan it late? eBay won't remove those things. I mean, Sometimes they will, depending on like obviously extenuating circumstances where, you know, the post office, we had a lot of hurricanes, I remember, and like a fire and the California wildfires and stuff like that. Those post offices were closed. Yeah, we were bumping those off left and right. We're not going to penalize you for something that's your own fault. That's not your fault, I'm sorry. But just dropping it off at the post office and saying, oh yeah, well, they'll get it. And if not, then I'm going to call eBay and get them all removed. A lot of times that didn't happen, you know, because it's on the seller's responsibility until it says that it's accepted by USPS to get those items, you know, and it's fair because that happened to me. It's not like I got any special treatment. But it's important to take ownership of those things. You know what I'm saying? And the first few times, eBay will give you the benefit of the doubt. You know, they're not here to punish, you know, they're not here to hurt, they're here to help. But after there's an understanding, you know, and it's like, okay, keep calling about the same issue. We can't keep removing these for you because we've already let you know, hey, you either get it scanned, you know, or you don't have to get the top rated plus badge if you don't need to. What else do we have in there? Let's see. Oh, the metrics. Do they all have to be at 100%? Absolutely not. Those little green areas that are in like the cancellations or in the late delivery or the tracking uploaded on time and validated, that little green area is for those one-offs where maybe the system messes up or maybe they don't scan it. Or maybe you are late, you know, it's for those one-offs. You're not required to be at 100%. There's a lot of people that would call and be like, it has to be at 100%. I don't, you know, I take a lot of pride in that. And it's like, well, calm down. I understand, you know, but that's just how the system works. It's there for you, so you have that cushion. If you don't make mistakes all the time, then those few times aren't really going to make a big deal. So think about it like that. You know, that cushion is there for you. You know, if you're a great seller already, which most people are, they're not really going to run into a position where you have to keep getting things removed or that little green area is getting close to the red. The cancellations and cases closed without seller resolution will drop you below standard, and that'll help me segue into the below standard conversation that we're going to have right now. So below standard, okay, so that's like almost a probationary period where we've had a lot of bad buying experiences or chances to be bad buying experiences where the buyer opens the case and you don't respond at all and eBay has to close it and you never responded. That's a case closed without seller resolution. The other one is cancellations for being out of stock, and really cancellations in general. If it's something that you posted and didn't have and had to cancel the transaction, that's gonna ding your account. We want to prevent that as much as possible. Those don't fall off for 12 months, I believe. The tracking uploaded on time and validated and the late delivery, those fall off every 3 months. So not too big a deal on those. But those cases closed, those are the only ones that can drop you below standard. If you look at them, they're the only ones that have a red bar at the end. That red bar at the end means you're below standard, which means you could be hidden in the listings or you could get dinged with more higher seller fees. So at that point, eBay's saying, okay, we're still going to allow you to sell because we want you to sell, but at the same time, you need to try, so we can keep the account active. Once eBay sees stagnation, they're going to go ahead and restrict the account or hinder the account or maybe, not allow you to sell anymore because of the bad buying experiences and the lack of effort on your part. So I would say if you get into that point, I saw people that, were BSTD for, 2 years and then got out of it. You know what I'm saying? It took them some time because they had to find better items. Obviously if you're selling ornaments and it's July, you might have a harder time getting out of BSTD because, you're selling an item that people don't want or need at that time. But if you can branch out, like I was saying earlier about finding different markets, well, it's pretty easy. You just find the same items, throw them on there, not have any bad experiences from then on out, and then the account will fix itself and pull itself out of the BSTD. Basically, what you want to do is it's a percentage. So, for instance, just as an example, okay, don't take this literal, but just as an example, if I'm selling items, right, and I'm BSTD, and I'm at a 20%, I've sold 5 items, one of them was a cancellation, I'm at 20%, I'm kind of far out of being above average or above standard. So what I have to do is increase my number of successful transactions to drop that percentage down, okay? It's not about, oh, well, I sold 2 more items. Yeah, well, it's only going to bring you to like 19 or 18%, you know what I'm saying? You got to drop that percentage down. So what would you do? Theoretically, what you might do is sell 100 items fast, right? If you got 100 pencils and sold them all for 25 cents a piece, yeah, you might not make a lot of money, but you created 100 transactions. Now it's 100 to 1, and you've dropped your percentage to 1% instead of 1 out of 5 where it's 20%. So just food for thought. Think about it in that way. You want to increase those transactions as much as possible. Okay, let's see. And the last thing, eBay has all these things in place because it's honestly about safety, right? We want to make sure that everybody's safe. The buyer's safe, the seller's safe. eBay does all this. They will not trade safety for anything. I mean, and I saw it firsthand. You know, if it comes to the money and the safety, they'll pick safety 100 times. They will not pick the money over safety. Okay, it's all about keeping the site secure. It's all about making sure that everybody's having successful transactions, everybody's making money, everybody's spending their money wisely and getting what they paid for. So, I mean, eBay would jump through all kinds of hoops to make sure that the site is safe, okay? So don't doubt that. Trust me, I was there. That was my department. We focused only on safety, and eBay let us know, like, hey, safety is very important, and it's pretty much the most important thing we have. After that, customers, of course, but the safety was always number one because, like I said, we want to make sure that everybody was coming out on top and everybody was happy with their transaction on the site. And I know a lot of places that aren't like that. A lot of places they don't care. A lot of places they have it set up to where it's very difficult to get a win or, you know, get a result that you're happy about. So that being said, drop me a line. Let me know if there's anything you want to know, anything at all. I'm always here. Or if you have any ideas, shoot them to me. I'm always ready for those. But y'all have a great rest of your day, okay? Bye-bye.